Welcome to Star Watch Now, your front row seat to all the hottest gossip, drama, and breaking news from the world of entertainment. If it's trending, shocking, or star-studded, we're covering it. Stay tuned. You won't want to miss what's coming next. One day they were everywhere, on red carpets, magazine covers, your favorite shows. Then silence. Not a scandal. Not a goodbye. Just gone. And somehow, that silence spoke louder than any headline ever could. Xiao Zhan and Wang Yibo, icons of a generation, vanished overnight from the Chinese entertainment spotlight. But what they left behind is far more than a career shift. It's a legacy, a mystery, and an emotional imprint on millions of hearts worldwide. They were once the heart of an empire, Xiao Zhan and Wang Yibo, two names etched into the cultural memory of a generation. From television screens to towering billboards, their presence was constant, their influence undeniable. In China, they weren't just celebrities. They were symbols of ambition, resilience, and modern artistry. But somewhere between adoration and expectation, their voices softened, their appearances faded, and the spotlight they once dominated now casts only shadows. It wasn't a fall from grace. It was a quiet, deliberate letting go. Without warning or fanfare, they stepped back from the stage that once lifted them sky high. And in that silence, something profound was born. The echo of their impact, rippling not just through their homeland, but across borders. Fans from Seoul to Paris, from Jakarta to New York, suddenly found themselves connected not by what they saw, but by what was missing. In their absence, they became something larger than fame, something spectral, even sacred. They became global presences without needing to be seen. Their artistry continues to speak, not through endless press appearances, but through the quiet endurance of their work, the lasting emotion of their performances, and the collective memory of a world that refuses to forget them. This is not a story of disappearance. It is a story of transformation. Xiao Zhan and Wang Yibo have not vanished. They have transcended. No longer tethered to a single nation's expectations, they now exist as artists of the world. Still present in silence, still powerful in absence. They are no longer bound by geography or noise, because what they represent can't be confined to headlines. It lives in the hearts of those who still feel their legacy, long after the lights have dimmed. Sometimes, stepping away is not about escape, it's about evolution. In the case of Xiao Zhan and Wang Yibo, distance was never a sign of retreat, but a quiet, deliberate path towards something greater. The world watched as their presence faded from domestic stages. Yet what many failed to see was that this distance wasn't accidental. It was purposeful, chosen, necessary. There is a rare kind of strength in knowing when to pause, when to detach from the noise and expectation, and when to seek new meaning beyond applause. Xiao Zhan and Wang Yibo understood that true growth often requires leaving comfort behind. They weren't abandoning their roots, they were protecting them, honoring them. By distancing themselves, they created space not only to breathe, but to become. What seemed like absence was, in truth, transformation in motion. In the silence that followed their departure, something unexpected began to bloom. Fans didn't drift away, they leaned in closer. In the stillness, their work resonated louder, their legacy clearer. Purposeful distance redefined their relationship with the world. It gave their art new depth, their image new strength, and their voices new gravity. They proved that influence isn't sustained by constant visibility, but by intentionality. That sometimes the bravest act isn't in standing in the spotlight, but in walking away from it to find a truer version of yourself. The courage to choose distance is the courage to trust that your story is still unfolding, just not in the way the world expects. Xiao Zhan and Wang Yibo didn't fade. They ascended quietly, purposefully, and with their eyes set on horizons far beyond what they once knew. Because sometimes the most powerful presence is found in the space between where you were and where you're meant to be. When the news first began to ripple through the online world, there was only disbelief. For fans of Xiao Zhan and Wang Yibo, the silence that followed their sudden absence felt like a sharp intake of breath that no one knew how to release. Questions poured in like rain. Why now? Why this way? Could it really be the end of an era? Across countries and languages, hearts broke in quiet synchrony. The ones who had offered unwavering support through years of performances, hardships, and triumphs were now left with an ache that words struggled to hold. And yet, in that very stillness, amid confusion, heartbreak, and longing, something extraordinary began to happen. From Japan to the Philippines, from Canada to France, fans didn't drift apart. They reached for one another. Forums turned into lifelines. Hashtags turned into banners of solidarity. Grief turned into a force of unity. What once was a fandom scattered across the globe began to move as one, guided not just by admiration, but by shared memory and quiet hope. They created, wrote, edited, and translated. They stayed up across time zones to catch glimpses of new projects, whispered encouragement in unfamiliar languages, and stood tall in the absence of noise. They didn't wait to be told what to feel. They decided what it meant to stay. In Xiao Zhan and Wang Yibo's distance, fans found a closeness they had never known before. This wasn't just about two stars stepping away. It was about millions of people stepping forward. Together, not just to remember, but to believe. To carry a legacy forward with grace, with pride, and with the kind of love that does not depend on presence to remain powerful. Because sometimes, being stunned is only the beginning. What follows is strength. In an industry known for fleeting alliances and quiet rivalries, the bond between Xiao Zhan and Wang Yibo has always stood apart. Unspoken, resilient, and rare. Their journey began on screen, but it didn't end with the final scene of the Untamed. What started as professional chemistry grew into something far more meaningful. A quiet brotherhood forged through shared pressures, mutual respect, and a profound understanding that few ever truly experience. Though paths have taken them in different directions, the connection between them has never faded. It lingers not in headlines or staged reunions, but in the way they speak about one another, in the silent acknowledgments that pass between artists who have walked through fire together. Their friendship is not measured by how often they appear side by side, but by the invisible thread that time and distance cannot sever. When they vanished from the spotlight in their homeland, fans feared that everything would unravel. But instead, their bond revealed its truest shape, one that didn't need cameras or stages to be real. It became something global, something enduring. Their support for one another transcended borders, politics, and silence. It was felt in the subtle gestures, in the projects they chose, and in the way their fans, though oceans apart, continued to carry the memory of their shared journey forward. Brotherhood, in its purest form, doesn't need to be declared. It is lived even in separation. Xiao Zhan and Wang Yibo are not just co-stars of a past moment. They are living proof that some connections, once formed, become part of who you are regardless of geography or time. Their story reminds us that true bonds don't fade when the spotlight dims. They deepen, evolve, and quietly shine across every border. When Xiao Zhan and Wang Yibo stepped away from the familiar stages of their homeland, many feared it was a retreat, a quiet surrender in the face of pressure, scrutiny, and silence. But time has revealed a deeper truth. This wasn't a step backward. It was a bold move toward transformation. What the world mistook for disappearance was, in fact, reinvention in its most courageous form. Reinvention demands sacrifice. It asks for stillness, for space, for the willingness to break away from comfort in search of something greater. For artists like Xiao Zhan and Wang Yibo, who once stood at the center of China's cultural heartbeat, leaving wasn't about escape. It was about growth. It was about rewriting their own narrative on their own terms. Rather than follow the path already carved out for them, they chose to make their own. They are no longer just actors bound by scripts handed to them. They are storytellers forging their voices across languages, genres, and global stages. In doing so, they've redefined what it means to be a star from the East, not limited by geography but strengthened by identity. Their reinvention has not dulled their light. It has sharpened it. What fans once admired as charisma on screen is now mirrored in real-world resilience, in quiet strength, in the relentless pursuit of purpose. They've become more than entertainers. They've become symbols of courage, perseverance, and creative integrity. This is not the story of two men who left. It is the story of two men who chose to rise again, not by abandoning who they were, but by expanding what they could become. Reinvention, in the end, is not about leaving something behind. It's about carrying it forward, evolved, empowered, and unafraid. In an industry built on noise, they've chosen stillness. In a culture obsessed with relevance, they've chosen meaning. Their journey reminds us that real growth isn't always visible. Sometimes the most powerful evolution happens out of sight, in foreign cities, quiet rehearsal rooms, late-night studio sessions. Their path isn't glamorous. It's brave. Interestingly, this shift didn't only change them, it changed us. Fans across continents have learned new languages to follow updates, created apps to track international press, built fan communities that transcend geography, culture, and even time zones. It's no longer just about being a supporter, it's about being part of a living movement. Yes, their departure was abrupt. Yes, their silence still hurts. But what they left behind, that's something we carry with us. In our playlists, our wallpapers, our memories, our shared sense of purpose. They left behind a blueprint for how to rise with grace, exit with dignity, and grow without apology. Xiao Zhan and Wang Yibo didn't walk away from us. They walked towards themselves, and in doing so, they took a piece of us with them. Their story is no longer confined to one country, one show, or one language. It's a story that now belongs to all of us. Wherever they go, we go. Because real fans don't follow the noise, they follow the light. Thank you for watching. If this story moved you, or reminded you of your own journey through growth and change, backhand index pointing right, hit the subscribe button. Backhand index pointing right, like this video. Backhand index pointing right, and share it with someone who still remembers the Untamed and everything it meant. This channel is dedicated to telling the real, raw, and inspiring stories behind the headlines. Whether it's Xiao Zhan, Wang Yibo, or the next rising star, we're here to go deeper. Movie Camera, subscribe now and be part of a global family that celebrates talent, truth, and transformation. Thank you, and as always, stay inspired, stay connected, stay human.